Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my top 10 eyeshadow palettes at Sephora. This is the perfect time to pick out an eyeshadow palette, and I thought I'll share my faves. This is your first time passing by, I'm Gigi. I love to do hauls, reviews on luxury and high-end makeup. If you love that content, go ahead and click on the red button that says subscribe, and also come to my Instagram because over there I do keep you posted on new makeup sales, makeup releases, everything like that. So let's just go ahead and get started. Alright guys, let's get started. And as mentioned, 10 palettes at Sephora. These are 10 palettes that I believe you cannot go wrong with. If you pick them up, you're gonna be happy with the quality, pigmentation, longevity, blendability, all that good stuff. Very excited. In no particular order, we're gonna start off, and let's begin with Dior because why not? I feel like these queens by Dior are something very beautiful and special. They have multiple color stories. This is the one that I'm gonna recommend for today's video. This is in the shade Jungle, and I just find this palette to be very wearable, really pretty, very sophisticated. As soon as I put this on, I just feel very sophisticated all of a sudden. The colors in here, they just work together very pretty. I do love green, and that's why I think I'm very drawn to this palette. But they have multiple color stories. They have Tutu, which is a little bit more purplish. They have Cashmere, which is a little bit more bumpy and like nighttime. They also have this one, which I had here. I wasn't sure which one to recommend, Nude Dress, and I was going back and forth if I show you this one, but why not? Let's just show it to you. This is Nude Dress, very neutral as you can see. So pretty much what I love the most about these palettes is their formula and how easy they are to use. So you can't really go wrong with this formulation by Dior. They're stunning. I feel like you cannot go wrong if you pick something like this. These queens by Dior are something special, and I do highly recommend you look into them. Next up we have a little palette by Tom Ford, and I don't usually talk a lot about Tom Ford palettes because they're a little bit of a hit and miss for me. I love his wet to dry formula the most, so today I wanted to recommend Honeymoon. Honeymoon is a good palette, just easy palette. So these are the swatches in Honeymoon, and this is just a very good palette, just really easy to apply, very pigmented. If you wet these shadows, you're gonna get the most out of them. I love his wet to dry formula. I don't really love his regular formula. That's why I don't talk about his palettes that much, but I feel like Honeymoon is one beautiful one to have in anyone's collection. Look how neutral and pretty these shades just look. I love this brown all over my lid, this purpley color, the brown for, you know, like fall time is just very pretty. So Honeymoon is my pick when it comes to Tom Ford. A little bit of a random brand, you must say, is this one, and I don't know, I think that it is because the rose quartz is out and I'm still debating if I need it or not. I decided to pick out the Mercury retrograde to talk about in today's video. I just find this palette to be very pretty. I love the combination of colors in here. Like if you're looking for a purpley, you know, like purple, but then you get bronzy shades in here, you get pop-up colors in here. Like, this palette is beautiful. It's not usually what I'm super drawn to, but if you ask me of something unique in my collection, I always have Huda's retrograde right here. I'm still debating in the rose quartz palette. I didn't pick it up yet. You guys said not to, just big skip. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it though. I think I have big FOMO that I didn't pick it up, but anyhow, Mercury retrograde is a beautiful palette in my opinion. Let me do some swatches so you can see what I'm talking about. Look at these beautiful swatches. So I just find this palette to be very unique. Let me swatch the blue and the purples at top. So like I have really nothing like it in my collection, and that's what makes this palette very unique again in my personal collection, and I just love it. I love Mercury retrograde. I think this is a stunning palette. If you're looking for beautiful and bright, you know, shimmery shades, I think you can really go wrong with this. Next up, I wanted to recommend one of my favorite palettes from last year, and I think this ranked in #1. This is Artist Couture Supreme Nudes palette, and this is just stunning. This is just beautiful in my eyes. This is all that I want in a palette. It is very neutral, very blendable, very easy to use, just very good. If I need a palette that is very good, this is something that I would take with my eyes closed if I need to travel. This is something easy, it's not extremely expensive, so I'm not, you know, freaking out that it's gonna break or whatnot. This is stunning. The quality is beautiful. I love the greens in here, the golds in here, like just everything in this palette, ouch, everything in this palette just really works in my opinion. So I did wanted to throw it in here because it's one of my top 10 at Sephora for sure. Next up, let's move on to Pat McGrath, and I wanted to recommend this Mothership palette by her. And I did a previous video, I ranked my Mothership palettes, I'll link it above, and this was my number one. So of course it needed to be in this video. If you're gonna get anything from 20% off and you're thinking about a Mothership palette, I think this is the way to go. So this is what Midnight Sun looks like. I love the colors in here. I love the green, I love the purple, I love how neutral it is, but you get a little bit of something. Of course you get her 4 special shades, her blitz right here at the bottom. This is just a beautiful palette, very blendable, very out there, but you can make it very neutral. So what I really love the most about this palette is truly how beautiful and deep it could get. So if you have a medium tan and deeper complexions, this is the one for you, my friend. This is it. Don't look any further because this is gonna give you a lot of dimension and depth to your look. So that's why I really love it. Not to say that if you're a light complexion this isn't going to work, but it's just something that I feel like it really works with deeper complexion. So anyways, Midnight Sun is my pick when it comes to her Mothership palettes. This is my number one, baby, and I do recommend if you're thinking about picking out one Mothership palette to go ahead and get you some Midnight Sun. Next up, let's move on to some Charlotte Tilbury, and of course we need to talk about her holiday palette. I mean, this is the time to pick out this palette. I love it. I did recommend this in my Sephora recommendations video. This was in it. It is such a pretty palette. I feel like the color story in here is very pretty. It's very neutral, very easy to use. I love this green and I love these 2 shades that she has here. You get a ton of pigment payoff when it comes to these shadows. They're very soft, very creamy, and again just very pigmented. So I just love the quality of this palette by Charlotte. I feel like this is my favorite one from this format. You get 12 beautiful shades in here. I mean, this is the way to go when it comes to her brand. In my opinion, her luxury quads are quite expensive, and that's why I didn't pick out a luxury quad in this video. I actually went ahead and picked out a face palette, forgive me, but I wanted to add this guy in here. This is her face palette, her recently released Instant Look of Love in a palette. So this is in the shade Glowing Beauty, and I decided to pick out this palette instead of a luxury quad because this is all you need. This is perfect. She has 2 shades. She has a lighter shade which is called Pretty Blush, and then she has this one which is Glowing Beauty. And these 3 eye shades right here are going to give you a complete, you know, eye look. And then at top of that you are going to get, so these are the 3 shades. This is one of those toppers, but don't let that topper fool you. If you really build it up and you use the right tool, it's really gonna give you beautiful light back into your look, and it looks so pretty. I also love these products right here. So she has one of her bronzers, and then she has her setting powder, which I mean, this is such an amazing product to have for on the go. This is so handy. Her medium shade is really good for brightening underneath your eyes. This is in the shade medium, so I love this powder. It's very softening and blurring. Like, I don't know if you saw any difference, but it looks so blurred and pretty. This palette I think is very nice, and for the price, if you're gonna get it on sale, this is the time to do so. So I decided to include it in my eye palettes because, again, you get 3 eyeshadows in here, to be fair, and then you get a beautiful blush and you get a beautiful let me show you this highlighter. This is it. So I do have a review on this palette if you wanted to take a deeper look into it. I'll try to link it if I remember, but yeah, this is my pick when it comes to something smaller from Charlotte. Next up, let's talk a little bit of Miss Natasha Denona, and the eyeshadow that I'm wearing right now is from this palette, her gold palette, and I decided to include this one even though I just tried it, so I'm technically cheating because I haven't tried the whole palette, but it's just so pretty that I feel like you need it. She actually is going to remove these from the shelves, I was told, so this was, I think it's gonna be discontinued. It came back into stock, and if you can get it on sale, I did. I think it's the perfect time to do so. This is beautiful. It is a pricey palette from her line. It's not one of her mighty palettes, but I feel like it's just so pretty. I swatch every single of these shades and they just, it's just so beautiful. Again, I used it today and it just, everything just melts like butter onto your eyelids. You have 0 problems blending, no patchiness, nothing, just pigment. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm obsessed with this gold palette. I cannot believe I didn't have it in my life. Well, I do, because it was actually sold out for the longest time, but yeah, I do highly recommend that one by Natasha Denona. But if you're looking for a mighty palette, which is a little bit more affordable, I do recommend her bronze palette. This is my favorite from her mighty palettes. I think that you get a ton of color in here. This is your fall palette. This isn't going to be your all year round palette, but I just love this palette so much. It's just very warm, but I know it isn't everyone's cup of tea. So if you're between this one and something a little bit cool tone, I say go with the Glam palette. You can't really go wrong. In here you get a little bit of warmness from some of the shades, but mostly cool tone shades. So these 2 are my picks when it comes to her mighty palettes. They're my favorite. I reach for them the most. Beautiful pigmentation, beautiful you know, longevity. You can mix and match these shades. At the back you have those things to pop them out. I don't do that because I don't want to mess up, you know, for review purposes, but those palettes by Natasha, amazing. Last but not least, we have another palette by Mama Pat, and of course I need to talk about her palette. I did also include it in my recommendations. This is beautiful. This is just everything I love this palette. If you can justify, you know, this price tag, I totally understand, and that's why I feel like these palettes just come very handy if you want to try her formula. Of course, you're not going to get any special shades in here. You're not going to get any bleached or any of those 4 shades that she has in the Motherships at the bottom of the palette. Here you're going to get just 3 metallics, you know, just shimmery shades and everything, but I feel like just everything just works really well. Her mattes in here just perform beautifully. You get a little bit of pink, you get green, you get blues. Like these for the holidays is everything. I feel like this palette for gifting is absolutely everything. So I feel like you can't really go wrong with having a palette like this in your collection. This is a beautiful addition to anyone's collection, in my opinion, so I do highly recommend it. Alright friends, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments, have you tried any of these palettes? Are any of these palettes a top 1, top 2 for you? Are you picking out a palette this time around during the sale? Are you picking out the Rose Quartz palette by Huda Beauty? I need to know. I'm still having a little bit of FOMO. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still going back and forth. Trying to convince myself that I don't need it because I have Mercury retrograde. What do you think? Drop me a comment, help a girl out. Thanks so much you guys for love and support. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.